I have been on Etsy for 1.5 years, but what you maybe don't know is that I'm also a freelancer. So in today's video, I want to compare selling on Etsy and being a freelancer. I want to share my thoughts and outline the pros and cons, and also let you in on my future plans. Being on Etsy is such a huge difference to being a freelancer, but is it actually better to be a freelancer or selling on Etsy? We will find out in this video. Grab your 50 digital product ideas down in the link in the description below, and let's get started. Let's start talking about freelancing. I've actually done 2 types of freelancing in my life, and I guess there are many different ways of freelancing. One way of being a freelancer is that you maybe have smaller clients, small companies, individuals, and you work directly with them and do, any service to them. Or you can work for an agency, and the agency has all the clients. The agency is basically the middleman. And at the moment, that's exactly what I'm doing right now. I'm working for an agency, I'm the freelancer, and then I work for one of their clients. And I actually worked as an insights analyst as well as a social media specialist. And especially social media is my career background. I worked for social media agencies, advertising agencies. So social media is my expertise for small clients and big clients. And also my background is in account management, which I also do at the moment. So at the moment, I actually only work 2 to 3 hours per day, which honestly is such a dream for me to work those little hours. It's less than a part-time job. But, this freelance job is fairly new. I only started it around maybe 5-6 weeks ago. And that's also why I wanted to talk about this in my video today, because my focus is mainly on Etsy, but now I also took on some freelance work and I want to show you how it's going and what the differences are. So my freelance job, I get paid per hour, and at the moment I'm getting paid $90 per hour. I think that's a decent amount, but bear in mind I live in Sweden, and in Sweden you pay a lot of taxes, especially as a business. Let's talk a little bit about the pros. So I would say in this case, the hourly rate is really good, and I work actually remotely. I can go in the office and meet people, which is another advantage, I feel, another pro, that you have to do more with people. We come to Etsy in a bit later, what kind of, pros and cons it has there. It's cool that I actually talk to people pretty much every day, so we have meetings and stuff like that. I know this might sound weird to some people, but when you work for yourself, you barely talk to anyone because you're, working away on your laptop. So actually having a daily contact with people is a big pro for me. And I'm also extrovert, so I really enjoy the company of other people. And of course, it's a stable and predictable income. So at least I know, what I get at the end of the month, or approximately. So these are all pros with having a freelance job. So the cons with the freelance job is that there's only so many hours you can work in a day. So there is not really room for exponential growth. You can probably calculate how many hours you can work in a day and what maximum money you can make per day and therefore per month. And also they could fire me every moment, especially as a freelancer, you might even have less rights than as an employee. So if they don't need me anymore, or if they're not happy with me, they could just fire me. And I have a contract where we have to honor the contract in general, but after that, I might be out of a job, and then, the stable, predictable income is no more. And another con I feel is that I do have to show up every single day. My contract does say I have to work like 2 hours a day every single day. Of course, I can request, some time off, or basically take a unpaid holiday. But the truth of it is I always have to report to someone. I cannot just, disappear or do something else for another period of time. So there is some commitment, which can also be positive, that you show up, but on the other hand, you don't have the entire freedom you maybe have as just your own business owner. So I haven't actually freelanced in a while. So for me, it's a very positive experience at the moment. I really, really enjoy it because it's something I haven't done for a while. And because of the pros I just mentioned, like I really enjoy it at the moment. But let's talk about Etsy now. So as I mentioned, I'm on Etsy for about 1.5 years, and it still sometimes feels very new to me. I mean, you can really see it from two perspectives. Some people would say like 1.5 years on Etsy is nothing, it's not a lot of experience, and others say it's 1.5 years more than I have, so I definitely accumulated some knowledge about Etsy. But I also feel that Etsy changes, you know, sometimes monthly or quarterly, yearly, so you really have to actually adapt with Etsy. It's not always the same. It was not the same 1.5 years ago. But let's talk about the pros. So what I like with Etsy is that there are really no limits. You can have like a creative outlet with Etsy. You can create whatever you want. Of course, there's a question if people would buy it. You have to do your research and that kind of stuff. But in general, you can decide what you want to put and sell on Etsy. So you have complete creative freedom on Etsy. And then, of course, also money-wise, there are no limits. People can buy your products like en masse and you make more and more money. Especially, you have to only create like a product once, and I'm really talking about digital products here because that's where my expertise is. I only create digital products and sell digital products on Etsy. So you normally just create one digital product. In my case, it would be a printable, a PDF, and then you put it out there and people can buy it. And maybe no one buys it, or one person, or 10 or 100 or 1,000 people buy it. And that prospect, that idea that this is possible with Etsy is really, really cool, I feel. And also in terms of like time spent on Etsy, you are also very free to spend as much or as little time you want on Etsy. You can create a lot of products and put them on Etsy, or you, like me a little bit, you have breaks in between where you don't really create much and you focus on other things, and then you can come back to Etsy, you know, like there is really no like limits or no rules around it. And what I like as well is that I can be having lunch or be on holiday or go to bed and I hear this cha-ching, and you basically made a sale and you made money even if you not physically, you know, sat down and did something. This thought I really, really love as well, that you can make money whilst you do other things, which is the complete opposite of freelancing. And of course, I mentioned digital products on Etsy. The good thing is you uploaded it, and then when someone buys it, you don't have to do any fulfillment. It is all automatic, so you don't even have to do anything. The only thing I really do is I'm replying to customers' requests, or, you know, if there's any issues. That's the only thing I do, and it doesn't even happen every day. So it is sporadic throughout the week. I don't get that many, so it really doesn't take me much time at all. Let's talk a little bit about the cons, and I didn't really mention that as a pro for freelancing, but see it as a pro for freelancing and a con for Etsy is that the reward can really come very delayed. So whilst you're freelancing, you just do your work and you get paid for it probably by the end of the month. At least this is how it works here in Sweden. You have your invoice and you will be paid in a month, in 30 days. And you know this is what you're going to get. But with Etsy, you create and you publish, you know, you put so much effort into Etsy and nothing comes out at the beginning. Like, I feel like, first of all, you don't really know if it sells, even if you did your research. Then it doesn't come immediately, the reward as well. You have to wait like until the algorithm really finds you and shows you to more people, and if someone buys, then it pushes you a little bit more, and all these kind of things. Like, there is no direct reward with Etsy. You have to be quite patient. And also with Etsy, it can be sometimes really confusing because there are these people out there who are highly successful and they make a lot of money, you know, in a short period of time, which is wonderful for them. But when we really look at Etsy and look at it in a more realistic way, this is not really the norm. There are just some unicorns out there and they nail it. But Etsy works a little bit different. It is something more for the long term if you really take it seriously, like me. Like, you just have to continue, you have to be consistent with it, and you will be rewarded eventually. You don't know when it happens, but you learn from it, and then you adapt, and then you create, and you continue to be on Etsy, create on Etsy, sell on Etsy. It's a learn and progress. Even if you get some success, and I would say like I was quite, or I say was, but I am quite successful on Etsy. At the moment there I have been earning less than I used to, and I obviously want to earn more, so I have aspirations, I have goals with Etsy, and I'm working on them. So there is also a different level of success you can say you are you successful or are you not successful? Whilst with freelancing, you just earn your money, and maybe your hourly rate is a sign of success, or you know, when you get feedback from your co-workers, from your boss, like if you are good at what you're doing, like then you can probably also define this as success. Like there's so many different areas of what is really successful. And yeah, of course, if I compare the money, then freelancing looks much more attractive. Although I do work, you know, much more for freelancing than I work for Etsy. And I would say that I probably make around $30 per day on Etsy, not really doing anything actively. Obviously, I did a lot in the past, and now I'm getting paid for, but I can spend a whole month without doing anything and still get paid around $30 a day, even on the weekends. And then you can compare that with my freelance job, which, yeah, I can make more money if I work more. But yeah, Etsy has an open end a little bit. But at the moment, if you really compare how much I really earn with freelance and how much I really earn with Etsy, Etsy loses at the moment. I don't earn as much with Etsy as I do with my freelance job at the moment. But yeah, as a conclusion, like I would not want to give up Etsy just because I make more money right now with freelancing, because my goals are just very different with freelancing and with Etsy. Whilst with freelancing, I want to earn money now. You know, I want to work right now and then get the money. With Etsy, it's more like I want to create more and put more out there, experiment more with different, you know, printables, with different digital products. So there is just so much more I want to do with Etsy. I could not say like just because it doesn't make me money right now, or not a lot of money, I want to give up on that. So the mindset has to be really a bit different, and I'm embracing both at the moment, freelancing and being on Etsy, selling digital products on Etsy. And I actually like this combination of having almost an immediate reward, you know, the monetary reward you get from freelancing, and then all the other pros I said with the people and stuff like that. But with Etsy, it's just a different goal I really have, and I want to learn more about Etsy, and you know, and want to maybe also then compare these two in a year's time and see where am I at with Etsy and freelancing. If it's still the same dynamic, if I still earn more money with freelancing, or if Etsy has overtaken my freelance life. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and follow my journey. And thank you so much for watching till the end. I hope I see you in my next video. Bye.